Hi friends, today I am going to review the book, Change Management Masterclass, a step-by-step guide to successful change management, by Mike Green. Elements of organizational change. Increasing competition and speed rule in the international business world. This constant upheaval takes its toll on the people who run organizations. A 2006 study found that 90% of corporate managers feel that cutting costs, hiring outside contractors and shifting corporate cultures undermine their morale and loyalty. Another 2006 study said that change in organizations creates employee anxiety, confusion, frustration, fatigue, and resistance. Change doesn't start at page 1 but, in fact, in countless thoughts, ideas, experiences, conversations, incidents, and motivations stretching back many years. As exponential change rocks the business world, managing these shifts is more important than ever. Change management is the practice of moving an organization from an old state to a new one in a planned way. One basic tenet of the field teaches that the way you conceptualize or define change affects how well you manage it. Philosopher Alan Watts once drew the universe as a scribble across a page and said that humans always try to put some sort of grid across it in an attempt to make sense of it. Change management attempts to do the same thing with change, using various constructs and theories to define types of organizations and the different ways change can reshape them. There are two fundamental anxieties that people have when facing change: the anxiety to survive, and the anxiety of whether they will be able to learn the new ways of doing things. To instigate real change in your organization, you first must understand its true condition, inside and out. Become better acquainted with your company by looking at it much as an anthropologist would, considering such artifacts of corporate culture as the arrangement of parking spaces, what people wear, and whether the firm gives its workers free beverages. Identify the organization's espoused values, explicit or implied, such as a stay-late culture. Analyze the driving forces that will propel change and the restraining forces that will impede it. Develop a clear vision of the culture's basic underlying assumptions and the results you want to create. Be sure to account for your organization's political, economic, and social environment. Determine where you are, where you're going, and what obstacles you might face on the way. Change doesn't operate in a vacuum. Properly managing the people involved is crucial to a successful reorganization. This includes communicating with employees and other stakeholders, and engaging them in the change process. While project management focuses on the practical aspects of corporate transition, change management focuses on its psychological effects. Change can have a profound emotional impact on those involved, especially rank and file workers. Researchers have extended the theories in Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's seminal 1969 work on death and dying to the change process. They trace a transition curve from shock to numbness to denial, through panic and depression, progressing to acceptance, feelings of optimism, and, finally, integration. Early change management theories. Kurt Lewin helped launch the field of change management in 1951 with his work on organizational change. His main theory described 3 stages of change: unfreezing existing practices, adopting necessary changes, and refreezing. Experts, who now view this model as outdated, say that a steady state of equilibrium is no longer possible to achieve and that change isn't a distinct object with marked boundaries. The new rule is constant motion. All the evidence shows strategic planning doesn't work. Other change management concepts start by defining change, organizations, or different types of corporate cultures. One main school of thought identifies 2 types of change: planned, which is managed with forethought, and emergent, which evolves organically. The larger, more complex a reorganization is, one theory says, the better emergent change works, because it lets transformation occur on its own after managers plant the seeds of change. Another well-known model views organizations 4 ways. 1. Machines. These firms have a strict hierarchy with narrowly defined employee roles, and strong top-down control and discipline. 1. Those in authority make the changes. 2. Political systems. These companies live by organizational politics, and the belief that you ought to know who's powerful and who they are close to. Internal politics override any formal structure. 2. Those in power must support any change for it to work. 3. Organisms. The leaders of these organizations don't believe in a single, superior management approach. 3. Successful change relies upon the flow of information between different parts of the system. Changes happen in reaction to shifts in the outside world. 4. Flux and transformation. Managers who envision their firms as being in this transitional state believe that order naturally emerges out of chaos, and that organizations can renew themselves innately. 4. They don't try to manage change, they allow it to unfold. In the overwhelming majority of cases, significant change in organizations is initiated or approved by a top-down process. Tailor your change management approach to match your organization's nature. For instance, with a machine type of organization, use a strict project management tactic, with some combination of an architect and grand designer, style of leadership, a controlled process, meticulous planning, and a clear map of the step-by-step path to your firm's goals. Other experts identify two major change phenomena: incremental change and the Big Bang. In their 2004 book, Exploring Strategic Change, Julia Balogun and Veronica Hope Haley listed 4 types of change. 1. Adaptation. A change that spools out over time using staged initiatives. 2. Reconstruction. Realigning operations more quickly and flamboyantly. 3. Evolution. Instituting change according to a plan in a measured, slower way. 4. Revolution. Rapid, basic changes executed via projects occurring at the same time. Within organizations, the shadow manifests itself in many ways. It's the hidden, the unspoken, the undiscussable. Another theory asserts that individual personality types affect the change process. One adapts the famed Myers-Briggs personality test to define how corporate personalities react to change. For example, thoughtful realists want to know why there's a need for change and will require some good evidence-based arguments, while action-oriented realists kickstart the changes and get things moving. The real world: how successful change works. Case studies show how change can be well or poorly managed. Take Biogen Idec, a global biotechnology company that makes drugs to treat non-Hodgkin's lymphomas and multiple sclerosis. After a review, its managers decided to restructure their Paris-based European operations, where the corporate culture emphasized heavy central control and slow, bureaucratic decision-making. Seeking a more fluid culture, Biogen's top brass appointed a project team, led by its main international operations executive, to assess its strategy and identify a better location for its European headquarters. There's no promised land of a renewed equilibrium, where we can all rest, recuperate, and not worry anymore. After much research, they decided to move the main office to the town of Zug, near Zurich, Switzerland, and to redistribute European corporate functions to 3 centers of excellence, with logistics in Holland, the location of Biogen's packaging facilities, commercial and administrative functions in Zug, and regulatory, research and pharmacovigilance units in the west of London, near the European Medicines Agency, a primary regulatory authority. It is important when you're stuck in the midst of change that you remember what it was that you wanted to change in the first place. The company's change managers collected extensive data and consistently followed best practices to handle thorny issues, such as relocating employees. They conducted an in-depth analysis of more than 30 quality-of-life factors for each potential new site and actively involved employee representatives in the process. The company provided severance packages and outplacement services to those who wanted to leave. Leaders redefined the role of the firm's central office to provide more relaxed oversight to make sure the company's various affiliates worked in sync. The affiliates became more self-sufficient as Biogen Idec provided the resources and internal authority they needed to move in new directions. Corporate laid out the strategy and left the nuts and bolts to local managers under looser central control. In this successful reorganization, change managers clearly defined jobs, duties, and logistics so they could make good decisions while creating a more flexible organization. Managing change is no easy thing. Corporations aren't the only organizations that restructure. Schools, housing authorities, small businesses, and local governments also must manage change. Good, open communication emerges as a primary theme in successful reorganizations. In 2004, Aarhus, Denmark's most populous county, won a prize for being the most effective public organization in Europe. In 2002, county managers undertook a major change effort to reorganize the community's psychiatric offerings, to combine local and social facilities with hospital services. Restructuring an organization with mental health clients was delicate since any changes could unsettle the patients and, consequently, their care providers. There is no one right way. First, the change team held a 2-day workshop where those involved could discuss their wishes and concerns about restructuring. Senior managers held similar monthly meetings over the next 6 months and defined their purpose, goals, and tactics for consolidating the services. Their organizational plan emphasized communication, mutual understanding of changing jobs and duties, and healthy engagement vertically, horizontally, and externally. Subsequent planning meetings and coaching sessions helped gradually institute the changes with minimal disruption. When change management doesn't work, a bank had less success with its change plan. It wanted to establish several offshoots in the form of specialized financial service offices. Its transition team spent months planning the reorganization and developing a clear idea of the new structure. But the team's members never found out if the bank's employees were really behind the change. By the time the bank's leaders asked their workforce to carry out the internal steps involved in establishing the new business units, the plan was already a done deal. The leadership team had ignored people lower down the ladder, making them feel marginalized and undercutting their motivation. The new plan never clarified how the bank's separate business units would work together and share staff services. It included impractical deadlines. When the change managers asserted that the transition would affect only 5% of the staff, and all managers, at that, employees responded with great skepticism. Those in charge of the reorganization had failed to bring their internal stakeholders into the process and had communicated badly with them. This created employee resistance. In the end, the realignment did not stand up to the rigors of implementation. Navigating change. A successful change process should follow these stages. 1. Orientation. Before launching any change initiative, completely assess the company and its culture, strengths, and weaknesses. 1. Know what those involved want and expect. 2. Organization. However you approach change, establish a basic foundational approach to provide clarity and a logical process. 3. Mobilization. Mobilizing the people involved is a crucial step. 3. Motivated employees buy in to change and push it forward. Unmotivated employees can make change drag. 4. Implementation. Managers must stay focused on the change project and not set it aside amid the company's daily demands. 4. Keep resources flowing into making change happen. 5. Transition. Change can make employees worry if their jobs will continue to exist and whether they will be able to handle new, unknown responsibilities. 5. Use honesty, coaching, reinforcement, and morale boosting to move your workforce from shock and denial to optimism and involvement, or even leadership, in your change effort. 6. Integration. Enable change by fostering the right conditions, including personal mastery, shared vision, team thinking, and systems thinking. Takeaways. 1. Change management focuses on the psychological aspects of moving an organization from an old state to a new one in a planned way. 2. Globalization, outsourcing, and political upheaval are accelerating the pace of business change. 3. The classic unfreezing, affecting change and then refreezing model no longer applies. 4. Change is either managed or organic. 5. Analysts view changing organizations 4 ways. 5. They are machines, political systems, or organisms, or they are in a state of flux and transformation. 6. The 4 types of change are adaptation, reconstruction, evolution, or revolution. 7. The phases of the change process are orientation, organization, mobilization, implementation, transition, and integration. 8. To carry out change successfully, leaders need a clear vision of what can be planned, what can be left to emerge on its own and what results they want. 9. Change requires support from senior managers and an environment of openness. 10. Take the cultural, political, economic, and social environment into account. If you enjoy our content and would like to stay updated with our latest videos, please like, share, and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Your support means a lot to us.